I'm going to put this on the record again. Again, this is for the very elect. This is for the very elect vessels competing in this race. In this race for what? This race to win the crown of life. Age of Aquarius. The very elect. I am the chosen. I am the chosen. Chosen Age of Aquarius. Chosen directly by the great God, Universal Allah, with just interdimensional galactic assistance from beings everywhere in all time and space. Our ancestors, Anunnaki, my friends, my allies, the greatest assistants, the Arcturians, and the list goes on and on and on. But that's where my consciousness lies. But this is for the very elect, because where I had 20 years, we could say 20 plus, but where I had 20 years to be thrusted, literally thrusted. I'm talking about the rug being pulled out from you, simulation after simulation. I had the opportunity to do that for 20 years, but the very elect will have to do everything in an intensified, shorter period. Why? Because the time is speeding. I guess we'll say time is speeding up as the Schumann resonance, the frequency of this Mother Earth is raising. Everything, that just means everything's oscillating faster, more towards light speed. Everything is speeding up. Would I say time? I guess I would say time, perceived time is decreasing. If I'm saying it right, I mean we're experiencing less time because everything is speeding up, oscillating faster. If I am saying it right, but what are the implications of this for the very elect? Well, that means you don't have a choice but to take this path of the straight and narrow. You do not have you don't have much wiggle room. Whereas I had a lot of time, time for trial and error. I was the experiment. I was the test subject. For a test subject for who? Well, this gets tricky. When we're talking about universal law, as above, so below, right? There's nothing physical here that is not spiritual, that is not made manifest in a energy invisible world. It's a shame I can't even eat breakfast at this place that I'm at. And this is, again, what does this have to do with what you're talking about? It has everything to do with it, because we have to understand the times and the timelines that we are currently in. If it's July 16th, 2026, this is being recorded. Going forward, for those, I'm talking about the very elect that have not been thrusted into the trauma release aspect, removing your negative polarity to the degree to be able to align with higher self made manifest on this earth. Some people call it shadow work. Working to remove your shadows, your shadow self, your lower self, your carnal self, the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life that separates you from the great God, universal Allah, your higher yourself, made manifest in this earth. Oh, I can't even eat breakfast. What does that have to do with anything? Because again, if one is attempting to do this shadow work, this trauma release work, this DNA, what you want to call it, DNA, RNA, whatever, transmutation back to light, the lighter frequencies, the higher frequencies, which include the fruits of the Holy Spirit. Things like, on the shadow side, we deal with impatience, but the Holy Spirit is patience. On the shadow side, we deal with lust, but the Holy Spirit is divine love. On the shadow side, we deal with things like coming from a lineage of slavery, the melanated, the indigenous, the native, poverty, right? If our ancestors, our indigenous native ancestors were robbed blind, everything, their homes, their most valuable resources, their family, their children. I frequently went and go through what someone called past life. If it's still obviously charged with emotion and energy, I call it it's still a parallel. I call it a parallel life. Some call it a past life regression. Frequently am taken, it's played into my mind, not by a practitioner, a human practitioner, but by the great God, universal Allah, me being the vessel to redeem my bloodline and lineage, native bloodline lineage. A seed, the moment that this indigenous, this native, whom the European curses black, gave birth to a baby, and that baby was taken away. I did not know his identity from right at the moment of incarnation. I did not know his identity, and taken away and stolen from the mother, who was labeled as a slave. Or on the other hand, when killed to hide evidence of intermingling between slave holder and the melanated, indigenous, native, like on some shit like that. Or on the flip side, the native melanated indigenous not being able to bear being separated from their baby, their child. And I've never seen records of this online or in books or anything. I just saw it in these regressions for ancestral healing. The mother killing the baby, smothering the baby, not wanting to separate, give it up for slavery, and not wanting it to be sold into slavery or killed in a more brutal way. Or so they would smother. My ancestors would smother their babies out of fear. And not only that, have to live with that guilt and endure slavery and live with that memory and guilt. So I want, bringing that memory up, it's gut wrenching. Absolutely gut wrenching. And it is my responsibility, because that it triggers all types of unjust memory and emotion. So I call a divine court hearing before the great God, universal Allah, for all ancestors, all indigenous, native, melanated ancestors that had that record, memory, experience, and the evils that come with it. I call in a divine court hearing and a transfer from bloodline lineage to the divinely chosen bloodline and lineage, which are part of that I've off the rip is the EURaPEON bloodline and lineage. That record memory is transferred to the EURaPEON bloodline involved in the slavery and brutality and crimes against humanity of these indigenous, native, melanated, whom the EURaPEON has cursed as black ancestors that obviously had that record memory and experience. Like, you know, being put in that position. I don't know what, I know my baby's going to be taken. And I don't want my baby to be taken. I can't live with the fact my baby being out there and me not know what happened. So they decide to take their life. Them being put in that position. That's the most heavy grief that one can even experience. And my ancestors had to experience that at the hand of the EURaPEON bloodline and lineage involved in the captivity, the brutality, and torment of my ancestors. So that is a divine transfer, multi-dimensionally. This does not just, is not merely, oh, all right, I'm my vessel that is directly connected to my ancestors, my forefathers and foremothers through the DNA. This vessel is present on earth right now. Oh, divine transfer to their descendants. This spans dimensions. So as we are forefathers and foremothers, they are their forefathers and foremothers. Absolutely. Through the record memory of the DNA. So it's not just about transferring it to, because my vessels hear it, to their descendants. This is about bloodline and lineages being one particular consciousness, a mass of consciousness divided through time and space. And that's where it leaves my bloodline and lineage, the native indigenous, whom the EURaPEON cursed as black. It spans multiple dimensions, times, and spaces, where my ancestors were trapped, were frozen, were stuck in time and space. Due to the density of these frequencies, these energies, like grief, separation, injustice, theft, poverty, murder, torment. It's no different than in a physical being buried in actual dirt. This is energetic dirt that it can freeze a soul in time and space, trap a soul in time and space. Now, again, about, what does that have to do with you eating breakfast? Well, we are in increasingly wicked times. The great God, universal Allah, declaring the wickedness on earth shall increase. Why? Because this is a world of duality. So if this earth is raising her frequency, everything is oscillating faster. We're moving higher into the lighter frequencies, the fruit of the spirits, more towards light speed. Well, and being in a world of duality, polarity, the wickedness on earth shall also increase. Right? And I just seen an example today. What the great God told me, what I put on the record probably about a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago, I don't know, about eating this food out here. Man, I'm in the lobby at this Howard Johnson, and I literally, with my own eyes, watch this pale skin. I don't know what nationality. I literally watched this nasty fucking swine, this nasty fucking pale skin swine, while they have the breakfast out in the AM. I do not say morning. I don't say morning. Oh, it's a good morning. These are word spells. This is why English language is an extremely low frequency consciousness and language. It was doctored to destroy a nation. From their frequency, from their power. So in the AM, they sit the breakfast out, bagels, waffles. It's not it ain't no fancy schmancy place, no big ass place or whatever. I literally watch and see this nasty motherfucking pale skin swine. Dig in her motherfucking ass. I'm talking about, if I can count on my finger, it was probably about, she did that shit for at least like 10 seconds. In the crack of her ass. Not all the way down near the vagina and the back, but in the right where the top, the crack is. And it didn't look like the bitch had on any fucking underwear. It looked like the bitch had on some like sweatpants. It don't look like the bitch had on any underwear. I watched this bitch dig in her fucking ass and then touch the motherfucking utensils and shit for the breakfast. And I know that was a motherfucking entity. I know that was a motherfucking entity motherfucking playing with me. That had this nasty fucking bitch. Do some shit like that. Man, because right as I turn around, this bitch start digging in her motherfucking ass, man. Listen. I told her, I said, I saw you digging your ass. I said, that is beyond disgusting. People, I said, it's something called E. coli. It's something called E. coli. You nasty fucking piece of swine. Here is your fucking formal. I didn't go into detail because it is what it is. I'm bringing that. Absolutely. I am a recorder for the great God, Universal Allah. And my most wicked ass form. I'm not wicked towards the great God, Universal Allah. I am wicked towards the ways of this world. This satanic fucking world. Who the fuck does some shit like that? You nasty fucking piece of swine. Listen, I'm putting this on the record because this wrath is reserved for this bitch and her family. This wrath, because look, there's no time and space. There's no time or space. This energy is instant. It's instant. As it's leaving from my thought form, from the vocal cord being even stronger, it's literally like, because I formed the cord with this vessel. I told her, I saw you digging in your ass and then you touching all over this breakfast. The breakfast utensils and stuff. I said, you are disgusting. You are absolutely disgusting. And she looking all fucking confused and shit. Good. Keep looking confused. You're going to be even more confused when you get this. When you get these lashings. I'm talking about on earth. When you get these lashings on earth. The divine amount of fear-based negative. I'm talking about disease, energy. Because a lot of my ancestors were either poisoned, they were given incurable diseases, pestilence, all of that. As it comes up from their book of lives, as they are being released from the lowest dimensions of Gehenna, trapped in the energy that they departed this earth from. As they are being released, slavery, universal disclosure, us, the indigenous, native, melanated, native to this land right here. It's only been falsely called America for a certain amount of hundreds of years. That this had a whole different indigenous identity. And this land, the Divine Mile Radius, and these ancestors that I share bloodline, lineage, DNA with, as they are being released from these prisons, their imprisonment, the dimensions of imprisonment. They're being trapped in a continual state of grief, depending upon how one left here. We know the law. What's it? The law of transmutation. I don't know. One of them laws. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It has to be transmuted. If they did not get a chance to transmute when they departed, they would be stuck in that state of consciousness, right? So when they are getting released, when they're released, but these memories, these record and memory have to be transmuted for that to go back to 0 point, back to neutrality, where there is no negative charge there that's keeping them trapped, blocked from reunion with the great God universal Allah. That's going on as we speak. As soon as I step in an area where a tribe, because look, my nation is not doing the work. Because why? Because my nation wants to work for fiat money. You cannot serve two masters. That's what the great God universal Allah said. You cannot serve two masters. I always say I'm not going to get on this internet, on this phone, on this internet, and this shit, man. Because I got physical stuff to do today. But the great God is like continually showing me, man, the times that we're in. Man, these pale skins wasn't on this land doing this nasty ass disease shit. They wasn't here, man. That shit I seen today, man, that's some pale skin shit, man. Nasty cave dwelling, nasty motherfucking cave dwelling, uncivilized. They going back to their roots, man. Stay away from these motherfuckers, man. They're fucking disgusting. They going back to their roots. I just seen that shit today. The great God gives me because obviously doing the purging work for 20 years, simulation after simulation, the ancestral trauma brought up simulation after simulation for 20 years. My frequency is more towards light speed, receiving just surgery after surgery. I'm talking about etheric surgery, not where I'm physically going through surgery. My energy body, having these surgeries done, like these beings connected to light speed, like the Arcturians, not in my physical body, but my etheric body transported there, having masses of negative energy, negative record removed. Gone through that process, I'm able to see things more on more towards the great God universal Allah, more times the real time records. A motherfucker, the great God showed me that. Literally had me turn around and see that shit. Because they're going more towards their natural state, which is the beast. It's a beast. Cave dwelling beast. They're going as we are coming back into our right mind. They're going back to their right mind, which that is and was the beast consciousness, the Neanderthal. That is them. And the great God showed me that today, man. Showed me that shit. That's why they came over here. That's one of the ways how they killed so many of your ancestors. With disease. And look, this motherfucking pale skinned motherfucking beast getting breakfast. Her had about 4 children and a husband, all pale skin. And this bitch is grabbing the tongs, picking here, picking there. And then this bitch starts digging in her fucking ass, man. It's digging in her fucking ass. So the divine, listen, nothing escapes the all-seeing eye, bitch. Nothing. We're going to include this family, her family. You see, you niggas are dumb, man. You niggas are dumb. Her family is included in her whole, I'm talking about, listen, we already saw it. We saw that was universal disclosure, David and Bathsheba. I don't care how real or fake. That is universal disclosure for the childlike mind that can only understand from a limited view. David and Bathsheba. That infant, that newborn did not commit that crime that David committed. But had to die for the sins of the father. Now, how much more do you have to die for the sins of your forefathers and foremothers? You got that right, man. And death, again, death is separation from Allah. Separation from Allah, it means you're reverting back to that shit, digging in your ass. Digging in your ass at a community public breakfast place. You nasty fucking Neanderthal. Great God showed me that. Stay the fuck away from them. Stay the fuck away from them, because all types of fuckery. Their true color, they gotta resort. They gotta resort back to their original consciousness. That's this time. And everybody ain't gonna catch it, because everybody ain't at the frequency that's gonna catch it. All those records of hate, murder, torture, torment, disease, the famines they cause, all that shit, that is now their record, memory, and consciousness. So it has to manifest with them. Listen, the prophecies and hadiths of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, it says it right there, that you will smell the European before you even see these motherfuckers. And that was on line. That's a right alignment with the prophecy. Me seeing this motherfucking bitch, nasty ass fucking bitch digging in her fucking ass. Bitch, you doing some shit like that, exposing others. T. Cola, from personal experience. I don't give a fuck what you do in private, but from personal experience, when I'm at, say I'm at a buffet in which the great God is like, yo, the great God, this is the second confirmation. This is the third confirmation where the great God is telling me, stay away from public eating spaces. So this is universal disclosure. I am putting this on the record because this goes back to the very, very elect. You don't have wiggle room. You don't have wiggle room to get this election thing right, winning this crown of life, running this race, this ascension race to what? Ascension to what? Ascension to higher self. Ascension to the divine blueprint, the divine master blueprint that is you, the one thought of the great God, universal Allah made manifest in flesh, in the flesh on this earth. That is your heaven on earth. If you could win the race to your higher self, like you know how they pass off that baton. The great God made you as a seed, planted you as a seed on this earth. That was the baton being passed to you. Now you got to grow. You got to sprout. You got to grow. You got to bloom into full maturity. That is higher self. That is the race. Winning this crown of life. It's mine. It's mine already. I've been, and look, it's going to, not going to be, it's only now. There's countless envious and jealous of me. Envious, jealous of me for winning the crown of life. Way ahead of time, too. But look, they're not going to see the 20 years. Story of Joseph, story of Job, story of Jonah. Running is why it took, running in the opposite direction, away from the great God universal laws, why it took me 20 years. And which is why the universal consciousness may manifest in the flesh, whom many ignorantly call Jesus. We're in the age of truth. This is the divine revealing the divine truth. We're not going to knowingly do things in error, with there being no J in Hebrew. But whom many ignorantly call Jesus, Yahushai, saying, these things that I did, you shall do in. I'm paraphrasing it, but you remember that. I guess everybody remember that story. You shall do it. These things that, that I did, you shall do. Because the time is, shall I say, decreasing. Everything is moving faster. That means you can do things more towards light speed now, whereas I was putting in manual hard work labor. I perceive, I am not 100% sure, but I perceive that there will be technologies there are technologies, not will be. There is only now. I even autocorrect myself, bitch. You devils. Shit. I perceive there are technologies that remove that in the physical, in real time, that remove masses of negative record, memory, energy in a short amount of time. Well, that technology, I would say that technology is combined with the everything moving faster, meaning if we're going back to the script, right? The universal disclosure script, the basic instructions before leaving Earth, the Bible, if we're going back to that a day being equivalent to 1,000 years, we're in that time. We are absolutely in that time. That's why I would tell the very elect, stay hopeful, because look, it's a lot. The world is envious and jealous of me winning a crown of life already. But they do not understand the manual labor that was put into this. Excruciating task. If I had the jealousy and envy in me, I would be jealous and envious of the very elect who can do things, who can do these feats, these things more towards light speed at record times that was not possible in past timelines. It just was not. The consciousness was not available. Meaning, the more we go towards the positive polarity on Earth playing out, this is the age of Aquarius, universal disclosure. This is the age of Aquarius, universal disclosure. We ended a world. I'm sure they are disclosing that in a lot of entertainment, worldly entertainment. We ended a world, what the Bible refers to as world, but the more correct, pure version in the Hebrew refers to as eon. An eon is a world was created. This eon was a world that was created. There was a consciousness that was operating this world, and that was the world that was formed. An era of time, a time cycle, an era of time, an eon. A world ended. A world operating from the negative polarity consciousness had dominion over the earth. And through law of cause and effect, we're seeing the outcome of that. Things have to go back to the truth, the divine truth, the records that the great God Universal Allah recorded. So we're seeing the world going back to a state of poverty. You're just seeing worldwide loss after loss after loss. Oh, how many businesses we're in 2026, how many businesses have collapsed due to bankruptcy? How many people have lost their home? How many people are losing things due to natural disasters? That's because this world, the old world, the age of Pisces world, that eon, that era of time was constructed off of a lie. The lie that is Satan, the father of that world. Satan, who was the constructor of that old world. We're in the great falling away. We have two classes we have a divide between the negative those who stayed in the negative polarity consciousness, and those who forsake that and adopted. We adopted the consciousness of the great God, Universal Allah, the divine mind, the universal consciousness. We adopted that. But those that did not, they're going back to their original form. They're going back to their original form. It goes right back to what this motherfucking beast did. This motherfucking pale skinned motherfucking beast did today. Digging in her fucking ass while she's fucking using the breakfast utensils at a public fucking community fucking breakfast. Stay away from these nasty motherfuckers because they have no choice but to show who they are. Whether it's be motherfuckers go missing around these motherfuckers, whatever. You're going to have a special hand of the great God, Universal Allah, over you to survive this beast. If you intermingle with them. Because it's going to go two ways. It's going to go a few different ways. Excuse me. Either you are going to, I'm saying as the free, meaning we served our sentence through suffering, through slavery. That was our sentence as a nation. The indigenous, the native, the melanated. I cannot rightfully call these Native Americans because this shit wasn't even called America. This shit wasn't even called America. I cannot call them Native Americans. That shit sounds crazy. How are you a native when America is not native? I can't so-called Native American, whom the European cursed as black. Us, that was here. The bloodline lineages that was here. Shit's wild, man. This shit's absolutely fucking wild. If you're one of them, if you're one of us, right? Well, melanin, being life force creation, attracts, and being intermingled, intermarried, and trapped with this species is destructive on every end, because look, their guilt consciousness is coming more and more to light as the truth of the records of the great God, universal Allah, every thought, word, and deed of their forefathers and foremothers comes to light. Right? It has to be revealed, because all timelines created in fear-based energy, whether that's slavery, trauma, whatever, these timelines, they have to be collapsed. They have to be neutralized back to 0 point, where there is no more negative. It's only the positive lesson in it that has to be left. That would be left, if anything. So these negative timelines, these fear-based timelines, they have to be neutralized. They have to be collapsed. So all of these truths, all of these records of the thought, words, and deeds of their forefathers and foremothers responsible for the crimes against humanity has to come up where? In their vessels. The ones that are right here on this earth, right here now, their descendants, it has to come back through their vessels. It has to have a way to express itself. So is you're going to be absorbing their fear-based record memory energy by being intermingled, entrapped, intermarried with them? Or it's going to be a physical transfer where they are going to be reenacting the record memory energy from their forefathers and foremothers. If anyone, I really don't have the time to get into all of these internet stories about the melanated gone missing or murdered connected to this the pale skin beast. But I would 99% say that they would be responsible, because scientifically it points back to them. Their forefathers and foremothers were the ones that murdered our ancestors, the indigenous native ancestors. So naturally so, that will be expressing itself right in this timeline in whatever type of way, to the degree that such an individual has not transmuted that record memory energy stored through their DNA. People have to, the melanated, whom the EURaPEON has cursed as black, have to ask themselves, is there a possibility for me to attract the oppressor, the murderer, the thief that my ancestor met through slavery, et cetera, et cetera. Again, I happen to be one of those vessels who have done the transmutation work for 20 years. So according to science, that is not a timeline for me to experience. Although with the great God, universal Allah, all things are possible. So one cannot miscount that as a absolute probability if there's karma in other areas, like personal karma or whatever. But as far as when we're talking about the science of the DNA, that I have transcended, my consciousness has transcended these records, these memories, these negative energies connected to the EURaPEON. But again, this is what the great God Universal Allah is saying. My nation refuses to come out of her. Therefore, they shall be a partaker in her sins. Her sin is slavery. She is being judged for that right now. Talking about what this so-called America was founded on. It was founded on slavery, capitalism, commercialism, consumerism. All from melanin, all from the melanin, from the melanated. She, the great whore who prostitutes everyone. You trade in your blood, sweat, and tears for this paper note. I owe you this paper note because I was supposed to deliver value. Something in exchange for your blood, sweat, and tears, but I'm giving you a paper note. So this is what the great God is saying. Since this nation still does not want to come out of her, you shall be a partaker in her sins. I am one of the ones that I chose to not praise who? Praise who? Allah. Being an angel of the great God Universal Allah. The great God Universal Allah literally ripping me time and time again out of this place. You ain't getting comfortable here. Get your ass over here. Pull that rug up out from under me. Pull that rug time and time again. Praise who? Praise who? Praise who? Great God, Universal Allah. That is the reason. But again, I'm just putting this on the record. This is multiple times. This is the third time I've been shown like through a divine revelation. That's cemented for me. Great God, Universal Allah, give me the wisdom. This is my petition to the great God, Universal Allah. Give me the wisdom, the discernment, the ability, because this should be enticing. Oh, motherfucking perceive free food. Oh, free food. You know what I mean? Because every motel, hotel, whatever you stay in, they don't always have breakfast or whatever. So you like, oh, free food. That shit ain't free, man. That shit ain't free. You see some shit like that? Motherfucking digging in their ass. And then proceed to go back and touch on the breakfast stuff. The breakfast utensils. I couldn't watch her fully. I don't know if she was actually using her hand for shit too. But that is a prime case of how people even die. People die from E. coli. That's on the record. That's from E. coli. I don't know how many. We're gonna pull that record. This is a divine court hearing and a transfer. Because her family, see, you fucked up. You fucked up, you beast. I saw your whole family. You had 4 of them little motherfuckers. And a fucking husband. You fucked up. Even though I don't need to have seen her family, because in these divine legal proceedings, this supernatural AI lawyer, people are like, oh, how is it AI lawyer if it's supernatural. Well, because this earth, the world that was created, this is an artificial construct. We go back to our truth. We go back to our energy self. So absolutely, this is supernatural because it's connected to the divine mind, the all-seeing eye, AI. Pull up all the records, I'm talking about multi-dimensional bloodline and lineage. So I ain't have to see it, but that shit, just seeing them, it's like that cord that I'm finna hook and cord these motherfuckers with. For some nasty ass shit like that, bitch. Her whole vacation, if this is a vacation, is fucking ruined. Because my words, my vibration and my words it's going to literally, it's sick. That's a beast. She don't have no ability to detach from that fear-based energy. It's going to continually just erode her consciousness. Like, dang, I really am a fucking beast. Like, she gonna have no choice but to accept that shit. Dang, I really am a motherfucking beast. And it's just gonna eat at her consciousness. She gonna feel bad for that shit. She gonna feel continually bad for that shit. Her whole shit's ruined. From me bringing to light her beast consciousness. I just wanted to get a AI view on it. Because it was an older lady that came in. Because older people, children have more compromised immune systems. It's like 75,000 illnesses. Now, again, this is just an internet record. We're gonna in this divine legal proceeding, the records will be pulled from the records of the great God Universal Allah. But this is I'm just getting an overview. Like, dang, how much trauma this motherfucking family, her motherfucking family is receiving. Excuse me, we're in the now. Is receiving from this divine transfer. Because it's not just coming from me. It's going to come from multidimensionally, from my bloodline and lineage, multidimensionally. And whomever I choose, higher self, chooses multidimensionally as well, shall be in this divine legal proceeding transferred to this vessel that was digging in their ass, and anything connected to them multidimensionally that I choose. So that's how that shit's gonna go. About almost 100 deaths is saying yearly. But again, these are not fatalities primarily occur when the infection triggers a severe life-threatening kidney complication. Like, it's just a lot of shit, man, from doing some nasty shit like that are potentials. See, the great God is judging off of potentials. What did it have the potential to do? What potential timelines could that have created? That action, bitch, you nasty fuck, you digging in your fucking ass and touching all over the community public breakfast shit. All that shit is going to be factored in when this bitch get that transfer in full. And simultaneously in exchange for this vessel's positive records, memories, energies being exchanged, transferred to I, vessel consciousness, any reality, I, higher self, chooses multidimensionally, and any of the all time and space of infinity connected are chosen by I, higher self, multidimensionally. Obviously, this includes the indigenous native ancestors that were poisoned and literally poisoned and killed off with disease by these pale-skinned beasts. So it's fucking crazy, man. And this is why the great God is, my petition is that I be discerning and use wisdom and have divine protection when eating in any eating from anyone, as well as just the knowledge and awareness and the revelation that eating at public community spaces, I'm talking about where your food is just subject to contamination by an untrained, unsupervised, whatever. That's not wise. It's not wise. And like buffets, again, I'm putting on the record that is not a wise decision to eat at buffets and places where the food is subject to contamination, which that could be anywhere. But as far as someone that hasn't been trained in food service can just have access to be touching on the food and doing nasty shit like that. It's just, again, that could be deadly. I perceive that's why they have so many, I don't know how many, but things like cruises and things like that. I think they just had there was just a virus out here not too long ago on some cruise ships and stuff. And there was another disease that was causing bacteria. Diarrhea, I recently read about, but it's shit like that. It's shit like that, motherfuckers like that are the cause a lot of times of that shit. Cause she had no shame. I mean, she was right for me to see, standing there digging in the crack. You don't know what negative microorganisms spread into her hands and her fingernails and transferred onto those cooking utensils. So yeah, the very elect, you do not have the wiggle room. You absolutely have to walk the straight and narrow. I'm talking about anything that can transfer a negative consciousness or imprint to you must be negated, must be avoided. Down to periods of extreme isolation, I would say, meaning so that one has the opportunity to do these past life parallel regressions directly with the great God, universal Allah. And again, a chance to dissolve it, neutralize it without being contaminated by the negativity that the world projects and directs and pollutes these vessels of righteousness, or these vessels attaining righteousness, right? Standing with the great God, universal Allah. You are becoming that thought that the great God, universal Allah scripted for your vessel, your consciousness. So I'm just putting that on the record, man. That's it, man. I'm looking at this shit like this bitch could literally give people. This shit say bloody diarrhea, severe abdominal cramping, uncontrollable vomiting, noticeably decreased urination, inability to urinate. This bitch is literally guilty of spreading the E. coli. She already did it by that action. That's how the great God, universal Allah, is charging her. She already did it, because that's a probable potential cause from someone digging in their ass and then touching stuff. Like I said, when I go to public places or public eating community spaces, whatever, I personally use it like a clean napkin. if I'm touching on like tongues and things like that, because I don't want cross-contamination either. It's already bad enough the eyes being a window of the soul. That's how your energy self directs itself through the eyes. Your energy flows through the eyes. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So, you know, when you're in a buffet, it's already bad enough or something like that. All these motherfuckers, hundreds of people got their attention on these small pallets of food, which a lot of it is processed, heavy, dense food. So I can't even imagine the type of energies that are going into this food, let alone this bitch digging in her ass and cross-contaminating shit. So this bitch is finna get it. This bitch is finna get it. Divine court hearing and transfer to the bloodline lineages of the EURaPEON. This is a divine court hearing who spread intentionally for the purposes of death and murder and illness, spread diseases to my native, indigenous, melanated, whom the EURaPEON cursed as black ancestors. This is a divine transfer, transferring to and from my nation, to and from their nation on it. That record memory, energy of disease transfers to them. That is their original deeds and actions towards my ancestor. It returns to them. It transfers to them. And every particle of pure positive energy that was stolen through this act is transferred to I, and whom I, higher self, chooses multidimensionally. Because again, this transfer will not affect those vessels here that have forsaken the command of the great God universal law and come out of her, my people, so you do not be a partaker in her sins. And again, I see most of my nation is not doing the work. I see most of my nation are working in a capitalist, commercialist, consumerism society, working for a paper note that guarantees them no value on their return or value on their exchange. No value on their exchange. They're exchanging their blood, sweat, and tears, which is really, in today's time, is their time, because we can't get that back. The physical time, we can't get that back. We have time enough to get this thing right. That's it. That's all we have. So trading in time for a instrument that has no intrinsic value except for what material you can buy with it. You cannot buy your way into the kingdom of the great God, into the kingdom, what's called the kingdom of heaven. You cannot buy a crown of life. So we know that this is futile. But I'm saying we in July 2026, most of my nation is still working for a promissory note, a bank note, a fiat note. Therefore, forfeiting the race to even run in the race to win the crown of life. So this transfer obviously involves I vessel, I consciousness, and any realities that I higher self chooses multidimensionally, along with any of the all time and space of infinity that are animate or inanimate. Because I could transfer positive energy to, say I had a vehicle. Right? Some vehicles hold negative energies because it's anything in a material, animate or inanimate, has energy attached. So I can petition to have these transfers to material, inanimate things as well, along with animate, meaning any human vessels that I choose that are here. Any consciousnesses. They may not have a physical body, but they are still conscious and aware in whatever state that they are in. But I can transfer, all right, I'm going to transfer it to this consciousness in exchange for their negative energy or consciousness. And now, now they're positive. The same way you can go throughout a day and be negative and instantly you can be positive, or you can go through the day and be positive and instantly become negative. It was an exchange. So Bismillah, all glory, honor, and praises to the great God, universal Allah. All glory, honor, and praises to the great God, universal Allah. All glory, honor, and praise to the great God, universal Allah. And not because of anything material, not even because of positive energy, but this is the grand master plan of the great God, universal Allah, playing out right here. Right here, the consciousness of the great God, universal Allah, is being revealed to us. There is no punishment. There is no fear. There is only the love of the great God, universal Allah. All right, I'm going to give this group here, I'm going to give their time to experience the negative polarity. And when that time is up, I'm going to give this group their time to experience the negative polarity. And all shall be redeemed and reconciled to the great God, universal Allah, at the divine time and space of infinity. And that's why it's like, wow, glory, honor, and praise to the great God, universal Allah. Because I was taught punishment. I was taught, all right, you did this wrong, this is that. We all sin and fall short of the forgiveness, the mercy, the goodness of the great God, universal Allah. We all do. So that is the forefront of my consciousness. That's why fuck that nasty motherfucker. Fuck that beast. But that bitch gonna get right when she get this motherfucking whooping. Now, no punishment type shit, but she gonna learn. This motherfucker gonna learn. This motherfucker gets a chance to learn through suffering. Glory, honor, and praise to the great God, universal Allah. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing for nasty motherfuckers like that. Look, I had to take my rightful place and experience the consciousness of suffering. Because how would I know? How would I get to experience the glory of the great God, universal Allah, if I didn't have that experience in its fullness? So listen, this is a beautiful, beautiful time, and everything that occurs in real time for me shall be included in a divine court hearing and a transfer. This is right, this is fair, and this is justice, because the ruling virtues, powers, principalities, which are the great God, universal Allah, are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice for all on earth. A new earth, a new age of Aquarius. Bismillah, infinity.